you all doing? Good. My name's Adam Henry. I'll give you a brief background of what I do and what I've done. I'm currently at Disney working on a new TV show. It actually aired, the Christmas show aired last month, which actually brought a little bit of that for you to look at. And then the show starts airing in February on Disney XD. Before this, I worked on the Tinkerbell movie for a couple months at Disney. But I've worked at kind of all the studios up to this point. I was at Nickelodeon for about 5 years. I worked on a bunch of shows, Ni Hao Kai Lan, Kung Fu Panda, Robot Monster. Before that, I worked on a lot of the Rugrat movies. I don't know if any of you ever watched those. Oh, okay. Rugrat fans. Those were great shows. Before that, I worked at Warner Brothers on Iron Giant movie. Oh, another fan. That's good. Good taste. Before that, I was at school, so I went to CalArts for 2 years and sort of learned about animation there. So I started out as an animator. So I was, I drew the characters and animated that when 2D animation was still going on in the 90s. Lion King and Iron Giant, all these movies were all 2D. But by the end of the 90s, it was all computer animated. And so kind of 2D animation died. And so I had the choice of becoming a computer animator, or I could go into story, where I could keep kind of drawing, because I like to draw. So I chose to go into story. So I started become a storyboard artist. And I've done that, and as I became a storyboard artist, then I started directing story. And that's what I've been doing mostly for the last couple of years. Let me show you, I could show you, you've probably seen a lot of it, I'll show you kind of what we do in terms of storyboards. Santosh, my media guy. Pull up the third one there, the PZ118. Okay, so here, before you play it, so what we do at Disney is we have storyboard artists. Well, first you have the script. They write the whole script of what they're going to say. Storyboard artists take that script and they draw out the whole story. And once they've drawn it out, then we make a film of those storyboards. Again, some of you might know more of this process than others, but that's the process. So once the storyboards are, we take a picture of those and we create a film of those, and that's kind of the first stage of TV animation. So this is a film of those storyboards called a Leica or a reel or an animatic, a lot of different terms for it. But you can watch a minute of this and see kind of what it ends up looking like. We didn't draw those numbers, though.
Whatever happened to a good old-fashioned still life? Stress minus, rejection coefficients. Hello, Principal Larry here with your teacher evaluation form. Whenever teacher gets the best email, it's teacher of the month, and you find it was. No more walking through water sprinkler road. It appears that the glove is on the other shoe. What is wrong with face?
This expression is called a smile, Phyllis, and I have it because I'm about to obliterate Brendan on his teacher evaluation.
Your boring story is like glass in my ear. Goodbye.
So you're stopping there for a second.
A Choco Jam! Oh.
So the premise of this show is Pen Zero. It's actually kind of complicated. Pen Zero is a part-time hero. So he gets to zap into. So he goes into this theater where it's all technology laden, and he zaps into alternate realities, alternate times, alternate worlds, and he takes the place of heroes that were gonna fail, and he has to go in and win the day. And his nemesis is that art teacher Ripon, he was talking to in class. He goes in and he gets zapped in as the bad guy. So in every show, they, in different bodies, they zap in. Now in this show, they zap into Cereal World. So they're all like Tony the Tiger or whatever. They're all cereal mascot characters. So he's, as you'll see, I'll let you roll it again. He's Choco Champ, so he's a chocolate. Yeah, and you'll see. So you'll see introduce all the characters of what they are. And they all have their own cereal commercial.
Choco, Choco, Trunkalicious! Oh, and Sasha, you're Flamingo.
Agent Flamingo. Flamingo from Kirkland. Start your day. Flamingo? Yeah! Crunch like you eat it.
Oh, yes. And Boone, who are you?
Buddy the Beaver? Now please give you a healthy breakfast. Take it from Buddy. Nutrition is radical. And snowflakes taste healthier in water.
Mission time. We are cereal mascots.
Gotta try these frosted wacky snaps. You can really taste the wacky.
We must stop an evil milkman who's flooding cereal farms with milk to make all the cereal soggy. Enough crunching! Guys, look!
Not so fast, Ribbon.
Ribbon? Oh, no, friends. I'm Milkman. And milk is a healthy part of a balanced breakfast. Milkman bringing milk. It's easier to get your own. It's true.
So I don't know if anyone's seen Pee-wee's Playhouse ever. Pee-wee Herman is the voice of the milkman. Yeah, it's one of my favorite shows because it's so bizarre. So they battle him, and then they meet Ripon. So the bad guy in this is Ripon, the art teacher guy, but also this guy too. So they're kind of battling two bad guys.
You folks have a lot of energy.
So we can stop it there. All right, so that's, like I said, that's the animatics, that's the storyboards, and in TV animation, that's as far as, and this is kind of a surprise to people sometimes, that's as far as you get in TV animation of what we do, what I do. Once this is done, we actually send that to Asia, or for our show, it's Canada, and they animate it from this. So the people in Canada, the animators, will actually take this and animate the show from this black and white storyboard. And then when they're done animating it, then they send it back to us, and then we do stuff to it after that to sort of get it to final product, put in the actual music, and do all the fixes that you need to do. And what it ends up looking like eventually is, you can go to the bottom one. When it comes back in color, I mean, it's pretty impressive that they can take that black and white drawings and turn it into really cool animation, but they're really good at it. And this is a program called Harmony. I don't know if anyone's familiar with it. It's kind of like Flash, but it's a 2D program. So it's all kind of cutouts that's moving, they're moving around the animation. So maybe some of you are familiar with that. But it's very textured, this show, as you'll see. And then Harmony allows you to work in a 3D environment, even though it's a cutout kind of 2D flat picture. Again, we did not draw the numbers.
Guys, you know this mission was real tough. Try it like this. Oh. Mission accomplished. What? Okay, here we go. And that's the Sonazord. Mission accomplished. Why?
The sword was in a couch, not a stone. Open your mind, boy.
So that's the art teacher now as a dragon flying villain.
Nobody does a capsule full of
That actually sounds neat.
It's great. It's this company called Mercury in Canada, and they're really, really good.
Flaming arrows.
That was a fix they did to the animation. It wasn't finished yet.
Ammo.
So once they're done, they zap out of the world and back to the real world.
I miss my face here.
It's called a beard.
And this is the opening credits. It kind of explains the show a little bit.
And always save the day. Except when they come to me. And that's when I go to work. I zap to 2 dimensions every day. It's my job to be a hero, save the world, and make things right. Come to balls, rescue trolls, punch a zombie, score a goal. I'm a robot, I'm a rabbit, I'm a knight. Moon and Sashi always sticking by my side. No villain's gonna stop.
The most important part coming up. Oh, didn't have my name on it yet. It's an earlier version. But this episode is about him wanting to talk to his parents on Christmas.
Merry Christmas Eve, Sashi.
So here, go fast forward to about, yeah, keep going. Go further. Yeah, right there. So you'll see, so he wants to forget about Christmas in this show. And they're going to zap into the new worlds.
No, sorry for yelling. That is literally my guy. Actually, something right. I'm just wondering if maybe you could take a minute so I can, talk to my parents on Christmas.
Oh, it's very done with the mysterious device. Only very skilled to have the main fix. That's right. Missing talents and physics.
Me? No.
He totally is, fellas. Sure you don't want in on these pocket eggs?
Let's just get to work, right? At least wherever he is at me, I won't have to think about Christmas.
Too late.
So, alright, so that's kind of that episode. This one's actually a two-parter, so it's longer than the regular, usually 11-minute cartoons. So that's kind of what I do right now, is get that to that point. And like I said, all shows look a little different. You know, when you're working in animation now, it could be 2D, which is just kind of hand-drawn, which is not a lot of that left. There's flash type or harmony type stuff, where it's more cutouts that you're just manipulating and stuff. Although, as you can see, it's pretty advanced now. And then there's full CG animation. And actually, if you pull up the Final Ep top one and go to 24. Now these are, like I said, I work at Disney, but I did some freelance work for a computer company. So these are CG shows, and they're actually 1.5-minute shorts based on a game where it's called Sick Bricks, where you buy the little Lego piece, you take a picture of it on your phone, and it goes into your phone app as a game, so you can play with that piece. And if you get another piece, you can take a picture of it, and that goes into your phone. It's kind of a new-ish technology. So they did like 20 shorts of that are going to air on Cartoon Network at some point. So this was full CG. I did some of the storyboarding, but I had, for this show, as opposed to what I do at Disney, where, you know, like I said, I get the animatic up and running and send it off to Canada. This is something that was animated here in America. So they had like a team of 2 or 3 animators that I directed. They worked from the storyboard and just created this 1.5-minute short from that. So some stuff is animated abroad, but some smaller stuff or less expensive stuff still animated here in America, which is nice. So take a look at this one.
All right, team, listen up. I called you here because Six City is under attack. This is Overlord Omega, a real bad dude that's trying to
So as you can see, those are fun. I mean, they were done. They were animated in a week. The whole short was animated in a week, and then probably rendering and the final stuff took another few days. So it was really fast and furious. As you can see, the animation is fairly limited. Those faces don't move that much. So you know, it's not Pixar. It's not Frozen. But you know, it's one of the things out there that people are working at, and you know, there are a lot of animators, CG animators, computer animators out there that are not working at the big places and are just working at smaller studios. And I have one more thing to pull up. Another thing that I spend some of my time doing, and Santosh does also, is we try and pitch shows to the studios. Because I think when you're working TV, kind of everyone's dream is to have your own show, be in charge of everybody. So a friend of mine and I had an idea for a show called Gilbert the Garbage Truck. It would sort of teach recycling and sort of a green message. And so we created the show, did the designs and everything, and but that's all we had. We pitched it around, but no one bought it, which usually happens. But then we contacted a studio in England, or actually in Ireland, and we talked them into actually doing an animated short of our idea. And for them it was useful because they could put it on their reel and they could sort of keep their animators busy, so it was kind of worked both ways. So for free we got a minute and a half short of our idea. We still haven't sold it, but we got a short done. And this is, again, this is also kind of that sort of Flash Harmony type 2D animation. Oh, did not want to play it?
It's an older.
It might be. You actually had some trouble. Yeah, it's from Ireland, so they kind of have different systems sometimes. Maybe we'll play on yours. I have a Mac. Yours is a Mac.
Actually, I think it's opening
Oh.
a QuickTime setup.
Oh, there you go.
Older media.
Yeah. So, a good cartoon. Any questions so far about any of this?
I had one question.
Sure.
Did you guys actually like make the theme yourself also?
Yeah, yeah. I had a musician friend who's done music for TV, and she had a friend she wrote, my partner in that, with the two of us. She wrote the lyrics, and then she had a friend who was a really good singer, got him to do it. So yeah, So we wrote that too. That was really fun. I guess the other thing that Santosh mentioned, he wanted me to give you guys like a project of sorts, right?
Yeah, to the animation. Yeah.
Right. So we talked about it, and this is the children's book that I created called Bibby, the Baby Bunny, A Bunny's Journey. This is a story that when my kids were little, I told them this for about a year and a half. I just told them this series of Bibby stories, and it was always the same thing. Bibby, not too bright, gets in trouble, doesn't try and get out of trouble, but just gets out of trouble. You know, he'll get swallowed by a shark. He doesn't know that's a bad thing, but then he'll start playing a ukulele he finds, and the shark hates the song so much that he spits him out. And he ends up in an eagle's nest, and the eagles start eating him, but he laughs because he finds it tickles, and they become friends, and then he saves one of the eagles, and the mama eagle ends up taking them back home. So there's a lot of little stories like that. Like I said, so he gets in trouble, doesn't know that he's in trouble, and gets out of trouble. So that's kind of what this book is about. I have another book that I'm doing where he kind of encounters a bully, and the same kind of thing. The bully's kind of mean to him, but he doesn't know that's like a thing, and he ends up winning the day anyway. So those are kind of the Bibby stories. So, you know, if this is a project that you guys want to sort of play around with, and again, I don't know what the skill level is or whatever you want to do, but if you want to take this and create a little trailer or some kind of artwork around it, you know, or whatever, an app, whatever, feel free to play with that. Is that enough information to get started?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll leave this with you guys to look at and play with. And that's kind of all I am. Any other questions?
Yeah, I noticed your background said you worked at DreamWorks for a time, right?
Yeah, that
And
was fun.
what was it like working on the Dragon series?
It was great. It was really fun. Yeah, that's the thing when you work in animation. Every studio is very different. They all kind of have their own way of doing things. Dragons was fun because it was a feature. You know, it was a great feature. Who's seen How to Train Your Dragon? It's great. It's a really good movie. So it was fun to work on the TV show. And that was a full CG animated, you know, TV shows, which is very expensive for them to do, and you know, not a lot of people do it. So it was fun to get to direct and be in charge of that because it's one of my favorite movies, and it was just great characters. And they actually, as a director, again, like I said, it's different everywhere you go. There, they really let directors direct. They're like at Nickelodeon or at Disney, you know, I'm a director, but I'm not in charge. I'm kind of just, there's like 10 people above me who give me orders, and then there's, you know, 5 or 6 people below me that I give orders to. So even though you're a director, you're often in animation, you're not necessarily in charge. But at DreamWorks, they really let us be in charge of everything. It was fun to do. The only bad thing is, again, they wanted it to look like the movie, which in TV is really hard because you don't have the time. Like, How to Train Your Dragon, they worked on it for like 4 years. We had, you know, 12 weeks to do.
That's why I noticed the animation quality in it wasn't as good as
it can't be.
film. So.
It can't be that. It can't be as good because they don't have the time or the money to do it like the feature. That's always going to be a problem with TV animation. They can never match what, you know, the guys at Pixar or DreamWorks are doing. At least not yet. Which is why I'm kind of leaning towards, I'd rather do a 2D show or a Flash type show than a computer animated show because it's just not going to look as good. You had a question in the back?
Oh, yes. Basically, it was about, I actually have a few questions really. Like, one of them is like, how do animated series, like for example, from Marvel or Transformers, how would they go from development to production?
Right. A lot of it starts with the writing. They hire a writer, and he writes like a Bible of the show, describes all the characters, and that's kind of the basis for all of it. They just start, and then you start writing scripts. Okay, this is show 1. Here's the script for show 1. And then you hand it off to the artist and the storyboard artist, and it kind of goes from there, like the process that I talked to. So usually always starts with the writing, and then there's usually 1 or 2 people that will do the development art, you know, and sort of develop what's it going to look like. Although like Transformers, you already know what it kind of looks like, or a lot of the Marvel shows. But even those have their own styles. So you'll have, you know, the writing part of it, and then just kind of how it's going to look part of it is sort of the beginning part of it. And then you go into the whole writing each regular script.
So I see. If I can sum that up, that would be like the Bible is written first, and then like the outline, treatments, and scripts for each episode in that Bible. They're all written down, and then like say it's handed off to the development team to where the art style is created, and then from there all the episodes are made, right?
Yep, that's very accurate.
That's great, thanks.
Sure.
When you pitch a show idea, like how complete does it have to be? Like,
Good question. Varies a lot. I mean, I heard one show got picked up. Someone drew a picture on a napkin. One of the Disney features actually got pitched on a napkin. But then others, they do complete Bibles. It'd be like to be 30 pages. Some people will show Gilbert the Garbage Truck, you know, an animated short already. Family Guy, I think he did a whole episode of Family Guy, for those of you know Family Guy, in his garage. He animated it and everything, and so it was like a complete 11-minute or 20-minute show. So it can be anything, as long as you can get the idea across. When I pitch shows, I try and do like maybe 3 or 4 pages of sort of the character, the environment, what the show's about, some ideas for shows, and maybe, you know, half a dozen or 10 drawings. I try and do as little as possible. So it really does vary. As long as you can get your idea across, that's the main.
even if it's just an idea?
Even if it's just idea, because then if they like it, then they'll say, okay, come back and give us more. You know, come back and give us a little mini Bible of it. Come back and describe the characters further, or give us some art. And then you do that, and they say, okay, that's good, now give us that. So it can be a process. But for the idea, yeah, just I'd say a 1-page description of the show, a couple drawings is probably enough to start.
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
When you pitch a show, are episode outlines necessary?
No, though I often put like a little 1-sentence description of maybe 5 or 6 shows. Like, you know, if it was Gilbert the Garbage Truck, it would be, you know, oh, Gilbert goes to the beach and sees a bunch of trash and tries to pick that up. That's an episode.
Oh.
So you could just do 1 sentence just to give them an idea of what the show might play as.
And how many episode ideas would that be?
I would only do a couple, maybe 4 or 5 at most. So again, just 1 sentence.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, and back.
Okay, I just wanted to know, what's it like to be an animated director? Like, what are your like roles and advantages over that?
I mean, the main advantage is, you know, when we were kids, we all drew, right? So I found someone who paid me to draw for a living. It's a great, you know, it's a great opportunity. Not that many people get to have people pay them to do what they love to do. So I mean, that's the main thing. And then, you know, as an artist, you have sort of a vision of how you want things to be. And then when you work in animation, you get to sort of apply those ideas. You know, what I think is funny, I can put a gag into a show, and that's my gag. Even though I didn't necessarily write the script, I can say, oh, here, he's going to do this at this point. And then that's all mine. So it's nice when you get your own ideas into a show and sort of have that control over getting who you are out there and having, you know, 1 million people see it on TV.
That could change the direction of the storyboard artist.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you kind of guide them through it. In TV, it's hard because it's so much work and there's so little time. You know, you just try and, often it's just you want to get it done. But as you go through that, you get to sort of, put your own self into it.
Okay.
You had a question?
Yes. Who came up with the concept of sick blocks?
Yeah, it's, you know, it's interesting because Lego, you know, had the Lego blocks for 50 years, but apparently their copyright ran out, and now anyone can use those little holes. But until last year, no one could use that little specific configuration of holes that Lego has. So Sick Bricks came out to do that, and again, I worked for Brain Zoo, which was doing the animation for those shorts. Sick Bricks, the company that Brain Zoo worked for was a company that worked for the toy company. And the toy company, I don't remember which toy company it was. I was like 3 parties removed from who the toy company was. So I'm not exactly sure. I have the toys in my hand, but it's not like Hasbro or any of the really big ones. It might be like a European company. But yeah, sorry. But they're called Sick Bricks if you want to try and look them up.
They have an app apparently, right?
Yeah, apparently. They do, or it's coming out soon. I think they might have like experimental app that I saw.
Oh, that was my question. Is
right. I think it was coming out. I think in March last I heard, but then it got bumped to the summer. So I don't think it's out yet, but it's a cool technology. Because you can take the heads off the character, put a different head on, and then take a picture of that, and now you have that character too. So it's a fun technology. Any other?
Rather curious thing.
It is. It's really, well, I think Xbox has that now, or some of the other things. You can buy like a toy at the store, and Xbox has a little platform. You put the toy into the platform, and now that toy is in your game.
Disney.
Yeah. And spread someone. Yes, I haven't played it myself, but it's kind of a new thing.
Smash Bros.
Yeah. So, any other questions?
Cool.
Those are all really good questions, by the way. One more in back.
I have another, yeah. Basically, I'm planning to like start say my own company, like say not just animation, but comics, movies, games. But on subject of animation, like how is it that you could like work as like say one of the studios working in conjunction with another studio while working with your own like say with your own studio's projects that the company owns, that the company you found owns, and broadcast them on the Cartoon Network.
How do you sort of, you're talking about Sick Bricks?
No, I'm talking about like say make your own company, make it work with with a company like Marvel, etc., and basically try to retain the copyrights to your show, but make a deal to air it on the channel.
So you want to be like a creator, create your own stuff, and then sell it to Marvel or Disney or a bigger company.
Not necessarily. Just air it on their channel. Like work with the companies, with like say, work with companies to help develop their own properties with a lot of creative freedom, and then air it on a channel that their parent company may own. And all the while, like say, if you work with the company, my studio is working with the company's characters, like let's say Marvel's characters, the parent company, and the owner of those characters would own them. But if it was an original series that, like say, the production company you work with owned, like say, they would keep the copyright and the global rights to those those shows.
They would own all of that, and even if you sold your own ideas, they would own a lot of that process. So I mean, that is kind of how it works. They have their own properties and they build them up and get them out there, and they're all connected. It's like, Disney has Disney Channel, Disney XD. They have computer companies, music companies. It's all connected amongst Disney. Of course, you couldn't have a Disney character then jumping to Sony and working on there. So they all have kind of their own systems for creating that product and getting it out. And if they worked with you, they would own a lot of your product too.
So basically, if the production company you created that you worked with, like say a major studio like Disney or Marvel or whatnot, if it was an original property from the company that you founded, they would keep it.
They would own some of it, and you would own some of it. It would be split.
Probably they would own a big chunk of it, right?
They would own a lot of it.
So basically, it wouldn't be enough for me to like. Oh, sorry about this.
It would be enough for you to live on. If you sold the property, yeah. They would make a lot more than you, but yeah. Like the guy that created SpongeBob, SpongeBob makes $1 billion a year. He doesn't make $1 billion a year. Maybe he makes $1 million a year if he's lucky.
So I see.
Any other questions?
Cool. Thank you, Adam, for coming.
Okay.
Everyone want to give a hand to